Hey, I'm Chris Parsons. Welcome to Commerce Rewired. So excited to be here today with you guys. As you may have seen already, some of you from the LinkedIn posts, we have formed a new group called Commerce Rewired, and this group consists of legends in the industry. So today, I'm going to start off with a quick intro to Johnny Russo. Johnny, you want to introduce yourself and talk about why what we're doing is important to not only ourselves, but to the industry?
Sure, and it's three legends in me. Let me correct that. So I'm Johnny Russo. Been in digital and e-commerce for about 17 years now, and I've worked for a few different brands. Large public company ones like a Canadian Tire, Mark, Sport Check, and then smaller to mid ones that are global in nature, like a Mex, and then other ones that have a really strong following, like a Buffalo Jeans. And then in the last few years, I've helped wholesalers transition and transform their business digitally into D2C, and recently have a marketing agency with two other partners called High Voltage Digital. So it's a full service marketing agency. With my brother, we bought a non-alcoholic wine company called Zero Lush. And along the way, also am an owner and a master franchise of a fitness studio in Canada. And a couple of years ago, I wrote a leadership book called Mastering Mindful Leadership.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny, for the intro. You want to get into the why behind Commerce Rewired and how this all started for us?
Yeah, we all, I think eTail Canada is like that huddle for us where every year we kind of get to see each other. We message throughout the year, but that's the one time we actually get to engage in person, the four of us. Complications in business today, and a lot of people trying to earn revenue and profits, and sometimes we see them doing it in the wrong way, and we want to help. And we also feel like some of the content out there is maybe fluff and not action oriented and not based on data, based on a lot of previous ways of doing things, maybe before digital exploded, maybe before AI came in here. And we kind of said, hey, why don't we, start a podcast? And that led to, hey, why don't we start a podcast and maybe, a company? And 2-3 months later, here we are. And some of us are idea people, and Chris, you're one of those people that like pushes things and you're like, here's everything we need. And here we are.
Yeah, it's been quite the last year, but we've known each other for a long time, and all of us have spoke at different conferences, and we get to engage with each other, not just at eTail, but at other conferences around North America. And each time this type of conversation comes up for all of us is how do we impact the industry? How do we share our knowledge? How do we help the folks that are just coming up? Because we've all had great mentors, and I'm going to move to Tara now and have Tara do an intro. And same thing with you, Tara. Maybe give a little bit of context about how this all began.
Hello, gentlemen and audience. I'm Tara Conway. Like Johnny, I've been in the retail space, the digital space, the e-commerce space for over 20 years. When e-commerce was emerging in Canada, I was excited to be part of it. My background is Toys R Us. I'm a Toys R Us kid through and through, always will be. And also with Blacks, also with The Source. So I've been in a few different types of retail, always on the technical side, always on the technology side. And I lived through, the eras of content is king. And then I think I put my hand up and said, I actually think customer is king or queen. And that to me is kind of where my background has always lied in the operations, execution, logistics side. It is one thing to build a beautiful website. It's another thing to build a beautiful experience for the customer. I ground myself in data. I love the data. I think the data tells us what's going on. Many people create beautiful strategy decks. I like to create beautiful Excel spreadsheets that actually tell you the truth about what customers are experiencing and how it's affecting revenue. Like Johnny, the last few years, I've kind of left retail a bit. I now work with female founders, supporting them in their business setup, strategy, road mapping, planning. Like Chris, I do a lot of mentoring, really trying to help the new leaders coming out into not only retail, but into business. And why is this important? I think it's really important because our intention is to get into some of the real truths, some of the less sexy parts, getting into the hard things, finding solutions, sharing insight, leveraging the data to kind of direct the future. I'm excited to sit here with the three of you because our perspectives, while similar, our lived experiences are very, very different. So I think that our audience is going to get a well rounded view into how data can be interpreted and where opportunities lie. Really excited to be here.
Thanks, Tara. We're all excited to be partnered with you as well. I think key from what you were saying is what I always think back to when we first started chatting was we were always going to these conferences looking for real nuggets. And everyone says that and throws that term around lightly, that you go to a conference, you listen to a speaker, what was the key takeaway? And so often the conversations are so guarded and so high level that the audience that has just paid thousands of dollars to be there walks away going, what did I just get for that morning or that afternoon? And a lot of the key nuggets came out from the lunchtime conversations, the dinners that we were going to, or once we've connected, we'll start to share some stuff with each other through LinkedIn conversations and avoid this company or avoid this hire, things like that that came out of those relationships. But for me, it's like, why are we all not getting the nuggets from the presentations? And that's what we want to come from this podcast, is when people walk away from the podcast, there's a why, there's a what, there's an action that they can do for their business. So thank you, Tara, for your intro. And David, I would love to get into your head. It's always fascinating when we sit down and chat. It feels like while everyone else is playing checkers, you're playing chess.
Well, fascinating for you, perhaps, Chris. I'm not sure that's across the board for everybody. No, what a tough act to follow with Tara and Johnny. I mean, I'm just happy to be in the room, I think, buddy, and with you as well. My experience is a little bit more as a brand builder. I've either been on the brand side of starting my own companies or working as a consultant in bigger businesses. I'm not a particularly employable person, I suppose. I haven't had a lot of work over the past couple of decades, but the past 22 years for me have been spent in starting companies and growing them and then teaching other people, the tools, the tricks, the tips, whatever value I have to offer to the rest of the community. Ran one of Canada's, or was a co-founder of one of Canada's 50 fastest growing businesses back in 2012. And they got into the business of acquiring e-commerce brands or online retail brands. At peak, I owned 6 of those and had a distribution center that we were operating out of. So really cut my teeth on building the companies and bootstrapping and having the fear of having to move in with my mom if things didn't work out. And it's pretty close to that many times. These days, a few years ago, I started an advocacy group and a consultancy called E-commerce Canada. We've worked with a couple thousand businesses across the country to try and improve their position or teach them these tricks of digital transformation. Also, these days, I'm working on software ventures, right? So really AI proprietary builds, one product called Aperture, another one called Panorad. Both of those are oriented at helping people in the business space gain better visibility, doing data visualization and working with agentic AI. So why are we doing this? Why would we choose to do this together? Really, it's my admiration for the people that are here and to take action on those behind the scene conversations that you mentioned, Chris. I think that's exactly it, right? Like when we have the opportunity to commiserate as a group, both the 4 of us and other people in our circle, that's where the good stuff comes in, right? That's where the real tension that you don't get on stage and the tough stuff that we're going through every day within business and the people that we're working with and advocating for and trying to help through it. We really talk about those things over lunch or over a dinner meeting and stuff like that, right? Like it happens in a different space. Commerce Rewired was an opportunity to share that, right? To publicize those things and to share a voice with the 3 of you. We're all pretty plugged in. We've got a great network of people. And I think collaboratively, we have so much potential to impact change and to get thought leadership out there. 2026 is going to be the year of the horse, according to the Chinese New Year, and that's the year to run, right? So we're headed in a different direction. I think this is a great opportunity and a great start, to this calendar year. And I'm excited to work with the 3 of you and produce something great with Commerce.
Thanks, David. I'll get into myself. I'm Chris Parsons. I've been in the industry for 25 years or so, really focused on retail and the omni-channel experience. Launched my first website with Walmart Canada. So when you get to be able to say your first build of a website is with Walmart, You're very fortunate. And then the last number of years I spent with home hardware, running marketing and e-commerce as well. It's for about a 6-year period. And then Johnny inspired me to take a crack at building a book. So I did that, launching Retail Rewired. That just got published a number of months ago in 2025. Lots of great feedback about that. So thank you to anyone that's read the book. And then now I'm working with this great group of people trying to develop whatever we end up with massaging Commerce Rewired into. Also do some consulting with my Retail Rewired brand. And I'm very fortunate to also be the VP of marketing for Hale performance marketing agency that allows me to have a ton of space and bandwidth to do these type of things while I represent them as well. So for me, the why, the why comes down to, I really think back to my first like impactful mentor, Lou Pume for Walmart. And he took me under his wing. He threw me on stage when I didn't want to be on stage. He could have easily presented my findings and my theses, but he forced me to go get the experience that was required to get to next levels. And a lot of people have to struggle without great leaders, great mentors, great teachers in their lives. And I think the people that I surround myself with the class that you three have, you all do the same. And I want to just give back to this community. I think what else is important is we're going to structure this on both our experience and data from our sponsor from Cattle. Cattle's been a great partner of ours and doing research in the Canadian market, getting specific data, facts from consumers that we'll be able to share with our listeners. And it's going to provide invaluable feedback and data for our listeners that they would have to pay thousands of dollars for. And we will just be providing it to anyone listening on a weekly, maybe bi-weekly basis. Excited to see where this leads. And I thank everyone for joining this first kickoff of Commerce Rewired intro. Thank you all for being here today.